That wasn't the plan. Hello, Courtney Holland.
Hello, Emily White ass, my dear. That's what you are in my phone, Emily White ass.
You're Courtney Holland Tunnel.
Yeah.
So
Friendship.
friendship. I think we came up with those names when we were in our 20s. So
Absolutely. So like a couple years ago.
right, like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And welcome everyone to That Wasn't the Plan. Thank you for tuning in today. Woo.
Sorry.
We have a wonderful guest on today.
Ooh.
Lucas Smith is from Colorado. He has degrees in English and computer programming, which means he's full of depth and knowledge. He has spent 15 plus years as a software engineer, developer, and technologist, most recently working at the intersection of AI and technology.
Yikes.
He hosts the riveting and acclaimed Not Retired Yet podcast about people navigating midlife pivots and the question of what comes next when the plan changes on you, which, feels right for our show. I've actually been a guest on the podcast. Everyone, you should check it out. It's fascinating.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, what is it called again?
It's called Not Retired Yet.
I like that.
Yeah. He is
really
a
cool.
multi-instrumentalist and musician. He plays the bass guitar, he sings, and he plays the drum machine. He is also an avid cyclist. I thought that you'd get a kick out of that.
That's so sick.
He is a master of the smoker, as in the grill, not cigarettes. Yeah. That's
impressive.
I swear to God, his smoked salmon is life-changing.
Excellent.
He's a devoted husband and, as of recently, the dad of a high school graduate who is about 1 month away from leaving for college. And that is why we are here today. So welcome, Lucas. Welcome to the podcast.
Lucas!
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. I have. Thanks for that great intro. I've never kind of like had quite a perspective like that before on the last few years. Yeah, I'm from Colorado originally, but I've been here in Seattle for 26 years now.
You'll always be a Colorado native.
I'm pretty native at this point.
I don't view it like that. I've always kind of viewed myself as a Colorado native, and regardless of wherever I live for how long as I live.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like I don't know when that changed. I kind of did too. But yeah, I'm from Colorado. I'm from Colorado. But recently it's been I live in Seattle. I'm from Seattle.
Yeah.
That's
you guys are like the same person.
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yeah, we both spent time in California, but we met up here, even though he's been married to one of my best friends for, gosh, you guys just celebrated your 20th last year, was it?
21st.
Wow.
21st anniversary. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And you've got a little one off. Well, not so little anymore.
Oh no, he's huge. He's a monster.
He is. He's very tall.
How tall? How tall?
Oh, what, like 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", something like that.
That's legit. Yeah, that's legit.
No, I back away. He's very scary.
Yeah. He's not
They
scary.
aren't they? Giant teenage boys. Fear unlocked, I'm telling you.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Well, Lucas, you're here to talk about Levi leaving the house, but it's so much more than that today. I think that a lot of folks, our generation, when I say our generation, Gen Xers, who that actually spans over, I think, like 12 years from the late 60s, like 68 until 1980, people consider themselves to be Gen Xers. But a lot of us have had kids that have left the house or are leaving the house now. You said that a few months ago that something hit you, and after filling out all of the college applications with your son Levi, that it dawned on you and it brought up all these old memories for you about when you were kind of that age. So kind of before we get into that, I just wanted to kind of start with a little bit more about yourself. You've described yourself as a pack horse, like, quote unquote, load me down, point me in a direction, and I'll get there. Has that
Oh, I like
always been the
that.
plan for you, or has there been a cost to living that way, do you think?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I kind of think that a pack horse is like not a planner. It's very much the opposite of a planner.
Mhm.
You're just going. I can carry a bunch of stuff and I can just go. But what I'm not good at is going and saying like I'm going to go here. Here's how I'm going to get there. Here's what
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
need to get there.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna over engineer things and take everything I need because I can carry it, or I have been able to in the past. I think that that's probably changing now as I get older and,
Mhm.
as we start kind of aging, in a way that our bodies and our minds are not quite so, able to adapt to do things like that. But yeah, the idea that I can even do that is kind of coming from a privileged point of view. Like, this feels like a total, like, white male type of thing to say, like, "Oh, yeah, whatever, it'll work out. Whatever
Mm.
happens, it'll work out." Right? Right?
Mhm.
Because that's, like, not, how other people think about things. They've got to be
Right.
very deterministic in how they map out their programs in their life and how they're gonna get from point A to point B. And, I here I am just kind of, like, stumbling around and like, "Oh, whatever, it'll happen, it'll get there." And I kind of saw this attitude in my own dad who kinda
Uh,
does that. He's like, "Oh, yeah, whatever, hunka hunka hunka, I'm gonna go over and do this."
Mhm.
Where, and my mom was just kinda constantly pulling her hair out, worrying about, money, worrying about, like, her
mm.
kids and things like that. My dad's like, look over here." And so, like, once I started, like, seeing that, that was kind of something that I wanted to change and had some, and, face some real headwinds in actually doing that. It was so kind of ingrained in me that I was, like, not a planner and so much more of a, pack horse and being able
Mhm.
to, just kinda do whatever I wanted and stumble
Mm.
through and do it. And kids change that, kids and family
Oh, yeah.
change that. Mortgage
Of
changes
course.
that, as we know.
Yeah.
Being able to have, like, those kind of responsibilities is something you have to, plan for. Yeah, you gotta be like, "I don't know, I'm gonna pay mortgage this month. You
Yeah.
can't do that."
Yeah. So, did you envision or think that you had a plan? Let's just go back a year when Levi was starting his senior year in high school, and you thought this is how the year is going to go. He's going to apply for colleges, he'll get accepted at one of them, we'll send him off, and everything will be fine. Was that kind of your plan going in as a self proclaimed pack horse in a sense?
Were you thinking it was just gonna turn out just as,
Yeah, yeah, no, I get what you're going. The timeline for this actually starts, his
Yes.
junior year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's bananas. Like, back, like, 30 years ago when I went to school, it was just like, I'm gonna go to college."
Right.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
whatever. Now it starts, like, 2 years before it. He's got that in his head probably as he's exiting his sophomore year. Like,
Hmm.
"Oh, man, I need to start working on, college stuff now." And that's crazy, like, how can you, like, plan that stuff when your brain is, like, 15 years old? Like,
Right.
how can you do that when you're, like, 50? It's weird. But yeah, so he's had 2 years to kinda ramp up and kinda decide what he wants to do, and I'm super proud of him for being this guy that knew he wanted to go to college, as opposed to just like, I don't know, he wanted that freshman experience. He wanted to go to
Okay.
the dorms. He wanted to
Yeah.
be able to live on his own and be on his own, and that's, like, super cool to understand that about yourself, at that young age, that was important to him. And so it started 2 years ago, when he was first starting thinking about this, and yeah, there's tons of forums, and there's tons of, issues with, like, finances and, where in the, panoply of schools do you actually want to go?
Hmm.
And, he did a really good job early on about, like, kind of focusing and identifying what he wanted out of that situation, and, that's really cool, and maybe that's why you have the kind of broad timeline for that type of decision is so you can really get laser focused and it's not detrimental for actually what you want.
So he seems more of a planner than you possibly ever were. And so here you thought you were helping your son apply to colleges. When did you realize that something else entirely was happening to you?
Yeah, it probably was, like, maybe October, November last year,
Oh, okay.
in 2025, and kinda, like, just feeling really kind of bogged down by this process, and it was more than that. It was, losing sleep and getting really angry over things, and
Mm.
I couldn't quite figure it out. I knew this was something that had to do with the family kind of breaking apart and being able to usher in this new portion of our lives that
Mhm.
is necessary for advancing and growing, not only for him, but for us, for my wife and I to be able to go and get him to adulthood. I was having these really big emotions about how this was happening. I was like, well, yeah, wow, this is really hitting really hard. Why is this hitting so hard? And I
Mhm.
couldn't quite sort it out. And where 2026 came in January, that's kind of where I was sitting.
And you were upset and angry because you couldn't figure that out. But you told me that your family, when you were growing up, kind of fell apart right before or around your own high school graduation. Like your parents were scrambling. You're one of three, so all of the kids were left to their own devices. You were about 18. You were in a band. You were the editorial editor for your high school paper, and you felt like nobody was watching. What did you do with that kind of freedom of sorts?
Yeah, I was a pretty good student, at least like as my senior year wore down, and was able to really kind of self-direct myself into really what I wanted. I was really into journalism and writing and being the editor of our high school paper. Lead guitar and jazz band. And I had lots of gigs with that. And that was super fun. But as my family kind of disintegrated
Mm.
as I turned 18 and before that my mom and dad split up, and I have good relationships with both of them now. I'm fine talking about it like that, but they split up, and we had very little money even, when they were together.
Mm.
Grew up pretty lower middle class, and they split up, and nobody had any money. They had to, like, figure out what to do with my younger brother and sister, who were in a much more kind of vulnerable state, and so, here I am as an 18-year-old. I've got agency, I've got a car, I'd been working full time for, since I was 15 at that point, so I had
Wow.
money, and I didn't have much of a schedule. I could just like go
Mhm.
and do whatever I want. So I just, like really did some like really terrible things. you like like to myself and to my friends, not put too fine of a point on it, just really kind of dangerous and attention-getting
Mhm.
things,
Oh.
a lot of alcohol, a lot of
Mm.
drugs, to be able to, just like push these boundaries a little bit, and, because nobody's watching, nobody's listening,
Mm.
and, eventually, I was able to graduate, and, kind of did that with aplomb, but only, like, only through luck, um, pretty much, that I didn't end up somewhere, less pleasant
Mm.
than the graduation gown. And maybe like all Gen Xers say that, maybe like
Yeah.
all "Oh my god, kids today, they wouldn't be able to do the things that I did." Well, that's probably true, and that's probably a good
It's
It
thing.
is
true. I
true.
mean, we're so connected these days. You know where everybody's at all the time. And I feel like us Gen Xers were raised as latchkey kids. And I remember that one specific commercial when we were growing up. It was like, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? And nowadays, like, you could never get away with that because
There you
it's,
go.
it's 10 p.m. is way too late nowadays. But back then, it was just like, call the neighbors, where are the kids at? Go get
Yeah.
them.
Right.
So at that time when you were close to graduating, were you living at home?
Off and on, there's little home, at that point.
Mhm.
If I think the month I graduated, my parents sold the house
Mm.
and split up, permanently at that point. My dad moved to a small town in the mountains, and, my mom kind of was left to piece together, my brother and sister and sort of
Mm.
myself. I don't know what kind of thought she gave to how that was gonna work. I shuffled off to some family members in Ohio for a little bit, which was
Mm.
great. That gave my mom some space to breathe and kind of focus on what she needed to do. When I came back, there didn't have any room for me, so I spent some time homeless. I spent a lot of time on floor of my friend, Dave, who, to this day, I owe such a debt to his parents, Wayne and Jill, for putting up with me for so long. And, just coming down, then, oh, there's Lucas in the refrigerator again. Oh, he's sleeping bags over
Aw.
on the floor again. So, and they never said anything. They never batted an eye about it. It was just always kind of like, okay, yeah, he's here.
Awesome.
So I definitely owe a huge debt to them in a way that could probably never be repaid.
Do you
Mm.
think that being the age where you were 17, 18, watching your parents go through this divorce and you kind of being an adult at the time, but your siblings were younger, that maybe you've pushed some of these emotions down that you were just trying to get from A to B point to point at this point in your life, getting through high school, and that's the reason why these uncomfortable feelings have resurfaced in the past 6 to 10 months now, with your own son about to fly the coop, and that your memories are possibly scrambled because
Mm.
of it all.
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure, and again, like, maybe that's a function of being a pack horse as well,
Yeah.
is, you're loading yourself down and you're just kind of going you're trying just kinda trudging along, going from point A to point B, and if maybe it helps, it's a survival thing to put those blinders on so you're not doing too much introspection at that point.
Mm.
Mhm.
Even at 18, like you're writing some pretty bad poetry, you're, like,
Mm.
listening to Misfits over and over again, like, that's a job. Um, but, I think there is a portion of that that is very much a survival thing and that you kind of have to, like, kinda choke it down and say, like, This isn't right. I'm not getting a good deal here. I've got no ability to understand where I should be going, what I should be doing, because I'm just a pack horse. I'm just going
Mhm.
from point A to
Mm.
point B. I'm going up there, but there's something over there, that maybe, like all my friends are going that way, but I'm going this way. And you have no ability to do that. You gotta go.
At the time when you were graduating, had you applied for colleges? Is that something you
No,
thought you were gonna go do?
don't
Like, not at
Mm.
all? Okay.
I did not. It was not even on my roadmap. And thinking about it now, I don't think that I had actually given any thought to that, or I'd thought that that was something that I was going to be doing, which seems really weird. Like, both my parents are college graduates. They know the value of a degree. They know
Mhm.
the value of education. And I was never sat down and said like, "All right, well, you're actually a really good student. You've got some really good things going on. You're a good writer, you're a good musician. Go and, like, you should continue doing this." I don't ever remember, like, having these conversations with
Mm.
with the people who know about what the next steps would be.
Right.
And that seems really, really strange, to me in retrospect that all the pieces were there, they just didn't line up.
Right.
Mm.
You said you don't remember having those conversations, but your mom does remember having this conversation with you.
Yeah, so back, like, I guess maybe it was, January this year, 2026.
Mhm.
Um, I called my mom, like, kind of right in the throes of, like, when I was really dealing with some of the heavier, stuff of all this, when I was kind of remembering, like, being homeless and trying to figure out that stuff. Um, I called my mom, I was just like, "What happened here? Like,
Mm.
why is there such this gap in my life that I can't figure out?" And she says, "Oh, well, actually, we did talk about it, and we thought that it would be best for you to take some time off from school." I'm like, "Wha what?
News to me.
Right?
The fuck? What?" Uh, but yeah, so, like, I've got no memory of that.
Mm.
It
But you
it
say that you've
maybe
got a really good memory and that you can actually,
I do.
like, you say your first memory, which is this is incredible to me, was at the age of 1.
Yeah, probably the age of 1, probably a little bit younger. I
Whoa.
couldn't walk, but yeah, the first memory is, like, looking up
Wow.
from the floor. Well, my parents kinda lived in a commune, with a bunch of people. This is back in the '70s when, you could do that kinda stuff. Yeah, looking up from the floor and seeing, one of the members of the commune.
So you
Wow.
wrote something that I keep coming back to, that at the age you are now in your 50s, that your memories are now untrustworthy. What do you mean by
Mhm.
that exactly?
Well, just like being able to not remember, this kind of pivotal conversation,
Yeah.
with my mom, really kind
Mm.
of spun me around, like,
Yeah.
what else don't I remember?
Yeah.
What else, do I not kinda grok about this part of my life? At this point, over this winter and spring, I've formed a really kinda solid opinion about what happened.
Mm.
And then talking to my mom about this, I was like, well, maybe that opinion isn't quite so accurate. So I started thinking about this in that kind of light. Like, what else am I forgetting? And I actually remember at some sort of indeterminate year going on a college tour with my dad. Um,
Huh.
and, actually touring in college. I don't remember when that was. It might have been before this, it might have been after it. I don't really remember that part of it, but I don't remember that. What else is there that is kind of shaded or clouded over by this big emotions that were happening about that I can't quite access?
Mhm.
That's troubling in a lot of ways. Like, at 50, I mean, it's the ship of Theseus, idea where a boat travels around the world without ever touching port, and within those years that it's traveling, every board on that boat gets replaced. Is
Mm.
that the same boat that left? So are we the
Oh,
same person that started out? How can that be when your cells regenerate, what is it, like every 7 years or something like that,
Yeah.
when physically you're not the same person as you were 7
yeah.
years ago? You've got these memories that kind of are glue for that stuff,
Right.
but what happens when you can't trust those anymore?
Right. Like, if your memories are the thing holding you together as everything else in your body kind of
Yeah,
regenerates, what's left if you can't trust them anymore?
right. Right.
Yeah, because it's like you have this one version that you've told yourself over the years about your childhood and maybe parents not showing up at how you needed them to, but your mom has another equally true version of what
Mhm.
happened. And so, how do you deal with both of those being right?
Yeah, how do you? And that's an ongoing question. I think
Mm.
the I think you start getting really good at things like pattern recognition. Like,
Mm.
you recognize things that look similar to other things, and that's super important. That's just the engineer in me coming out, about, like, how to solve problems, is that there's this element of pattern recognition, but also you, or at least I think, that you start, relying more on instinct.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily trust a memory anymore, but I've got this gut check that is very powerful, and very true, at least to a certain truth, that is something that I can trust really, really well. So the gut check and the instinct is, I think, a really good way to circumvent those kind of moody memories,
mm,
that we have over our challenging times, to be able to identify those patterns and to understand them as on an instinctual level.
hmm.
It's an interesting idea and very primal in a way. Like, here we are, maybe like swinging down from the trees or something like that, and what do we have other than that kind of this primal instinct about what's on the ground?
I like that, the primal instinct. Courtney, you seem to have a really good memory. You can always recall things that I just can't anymore. I don't know how you can do it.
I'm a
But
genius. That's probably it. Smartest person in the world.
do you ever feel the same as Lucas where things in your past you're like, "Huh, did that actually happen because
Oh,
maybe my
yeah.
my family recalls it differently than I ever did?"
Oh, yeah, all the time, actually. Recently, I'll think of a story, I'll be telling Jonathan the story, and I'll be like, "I need to check my facts here. I need to go to my parents and be like, 'What do you remember about this scenario? Because this is what I remember.'" And generally, it's totally different. So, my interpretation and God, I can't remember where I'd heard something about, like, the memory is faulty because it's just you have retold yourself the story and it's changed, it's evolved over time, and then there's this weird thing, and I still don't know if it's because my mom is, I is still a goose, and, so I'll be with her and she will tell a story that was my story that I experienced. It was like, that was me. I was like, "Wait, what?" And she's like, "No, it wasn't." I'm like, "Mom." And she's not like someone that would be trying to take any kind of like, we're both gonna die on the hill that she says it happened to her, I say it happened to me. I'm like,
Oh,
"What is
interesting.
happening?" And I've had to consult my sister. My sister is very good, uh her memories I trust more than my own because she is a little bit, like, chiller than I am, and so I feel like my memories, I like there to be a story, I like it to have a narrative, I like it to be so great or so bad, And so I definitely think that, my interpretation of things, and even with my husband now, like, God bless him, I'll tell him things or ask him a question multiple times, and then he'll be like, "You never told me that," or "You never asked me that." And
Uh,
and I'm like, "That's gaslighting, motherfucker." And he's like, "No, it's not." So I essentially have taught him the word for the things that he does. My mom's a gaslighter too. She'll be like, "You remember that movie with that guy who looks like our cousin?" I was like, "No, mom." And she goes, "Yes, you do. You remember. Come on, Courtney, you remember it." Surrounded by gaslighters. But, while Lucas was sharing about it, I was thinking that leaves us only with the now. So very power of now, like, thinking
uh-huh.
that's all we've got. Like, memories don't it can serve with instinct. Like, I really like what Lucas said about
Yeah.
instinct and my gut. I always try and
Uh-huh.
really, like, try and listen to my gut. I don't always abide by the gut, but it's a practice to, like, be aware of what that small voice is like, "Maybe this is a bad idea," that kind of
Right.
thing.
Like maybe our memories actually live in our gut where we think they live in our minds. And so we have to
But
stop thinking so much about them and feeling our
yeah,
memories instead of
I think
thinking.
so. And,
So,
like, perfect example, actually, I don't know if this is a perfect example, but I've learned when I focus on something and try to do it well, I do it shitty. Example number 1, when I was in college, because I went to school for musical theater, um, it served me very well, obviously. My voice teacher, I was in a voice lesson and I was singing and I'm like totally not present. I just wasn't thinking about like the things. And then she'd be like, "Great, Courtney. Yes, more of that." And then when I would try and focus on it, she'd be like, but, we've really gotten into cornhole. This is just another 2 reason. My husband is very competitive, and he loves sports, and he loves all that stuff, and I'm not competitive, and I'm more like, "Hee hee, whatever." And when I try to be good at
mhm.
cornhole, I'm trash. But when I am just like when I'm singing or telling a story or talking and throwing, then I do great.
Yeah.
What does
It,
that
it
mean, and how does it go along with what we're talking about? I don't know. So
Well, so Lucas, Levi hasn't not left the house yet. He leaves in about a month. What
Oh,
is the last stretch feeling like? Are you savoring it, dreading it, pretending like it's not happening? Your house is about to be 1/3 less occupied, which means, I mean, that's not just your house, but that's embodies your own body as well, like your feelings and emotions and how you come in the house every day after work. Like it's just you're gonna have that emptier feeling,
yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah, there's definitely an element of that. I try not to leave myself too much that way.
Mm.
Mm.
Being really present. It's pretty good right now. He's doing his own thing, and we're tying the knots together. We're stitching up these last few moments that we have with each other. Yeah, like, in a kind of productive way, like, yesterday, I'm teaching him how to change oil in the car, how to change a tire,
Wow.
how
Good
to do, like, all
dad.
this, like,
Yes.
adult stuff,
Yes.
and,
Yes.
like, that's a checkbox right there. It's like,
Mhm.
"Alright, yeah, that's
Hell
that now you
yeah.
know how to do, this kind of important adulting stuff."
Right.
Or at least from my point of view, that's a checkbox there. He's probably, like, he'll get a flat tire on the side of the road and be like, "Oh, dad never even tried to teach me how to do this."
Right.
Um, but yeah, like, things like that. We've got a bike trip planned, and
Ooh.
gonna go bounce around for a little bit. We've done a bunch of, like, kinda cleaning up, and the big portions of the moving out part are, like, going and acquiring dorm stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
acquiring your mini
that's
fridge, acquiring your fake ID,
our trash can.
you
Yeah.
know? So, like, all that important stuff, like, those are still kind of on the box, but, we're progressing through it.
That's cool.
It's a good spot right now, and I think, like, he's going to school maybe about 6 hours away from Seattle here.
Oh, cool.
So we're gonna drive down there and drop him off, and I think maybe that's going to be a very quiet drive home.
Yeah. So you're giving Levi everything that you possibly didn't receive when you were about his age, like the conversations about college, the plans, kind of the showing up. When he walks out that door, what does the version of you that never got any of this want to say to him?
Mm.
That's a good question. No, don't waste my money. Uh,
Boom.
You
uh,
sound like my dad.
Boom.
uh,
Don't.
yeah, I don't know. Like, it's cool because he's such kind of a thoughtful person
Yeah, he is a good
anyway.
kid.
So that's going to take him pretty far like that. He's not going to go off and join a frat or anything that's going to like have these effects that aren't so great.
Mm,
So I'm not super worried about that. There was a time where I was like worried that I didn't know what the other side of that would look like for me and my wife. There was a point in time where I'm just like, that's really scary. Does she still want to, be with me? Are we able to be in the same room for so long, day in, day out, with each other? And that's passed for the most part. The being able to kind of say like, going back like the gut check. Yeah, we'll be able to do that. That's going to be fine. We've been, married for so long, and that's where the pay dirt is.
Yeah.
We still are both working. We're not close to retirement yet, so we're still
Mm.
working. We still have to do that, and I think having like that kind of schedule is going to be beneficial and helpful in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
have one thought when you mentioned the relationship with your wife. My sister said the most fascinating thing she was saying with Sailor, my niece, because Sailor's going to be a graduate this year. She's graduating. She's going into her senior year. But my sister talked about how the relationship between her and Bill, her husband, um, is the one she has to prioritize because Sailor is leaving. But she was just like, this is the relationship, you know, him and I continue on. She is a part of our lives, of course, but he's still got to be my number one because, Sailor will and I wish I had a more eloquent way of saying it, but it's fascinating because I know that a lot of relationships probably really go through a strain. Lucky for me, Jonathan and I have only been together 3 years. Today, actually, this is our anniversary. And
Oh, happy anniversary.
thank you.
By the way,
We did it 3 years. It's incredible. Next to Lucas, 21 years, whatever. It's not a race. Um,
it is not a
yeah.
raise.
But, we so from the moment I moved in here, we have yet to have, like, the honeymoon, whatever. But I'm also very introverted and he is not. And so it's worked out in my favor because he's got so many other things going on. I can just slip into the background and just kind of, read a book and have my alone time. But I've also thought because we've had a house full of boys and dogs and just so much going on that, when we finally do, we're gonna downsize big time and just I want small, less, all of that. But we have moments where no one's here and I'm like, what do we do? Like, I'm not cleaning up after anybody. What do I do? I don't have anything to do. But anyhow, I like what you said, Lucas. I just think that the relationship between, that takes a strain as well. The fear of like, oh, here we go.
Mhm.
What does that look like in the future? But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of relationships don't survive it, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that there's a good amount of people who once they're empty nesters, once they have nobody else to kind of like reflect off of,
right.
that is too much of a strain and they need to check out.
Yeah.
That is what it is, and I hope it doesn't happen to me or us, but, I can see that even in, the whole bunch of friends that I have in a similar
Mhm.
situation,
Yeah.
this year especially, yeah, I've got some concerns.
Yeah. So you're midlife, your only child is about to leave, your memories seem unreliable, and you seem very curious. What are you curious about moving forward when in like a
Mm.
month, 3 months, when Levi is out of the house and, he's not far, Becky's right there. But for you, what are you curious about moving forward?
I don't know if I'm curious about much.
Yeah.
There's some things I'm looking forward to, and that's being to have a lot more freedom to like go, and fly down to San Diego for a weekend. Go in and do daily shopping instead of weekly shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a super dumb thing to say, but like being able to have like that type of lifestyle, I guess, is compelling in a way that it hasn't been for a while. And, maybe that'll hit, maybe it won't, but being able to, I guess, strive for that type of lifestyle is compelling enough to be able to, sleep at night.
Mhm.
And, it's dumb because, like, this is such a necessary step in people's lives to be able to go and leave home and, to try to shake things out as on your own as an adult. That's how you have to do it as an adult.
Mhm.
And, you're not kind of thrown in the fire, like I think a lot of us were. You're kind of eased into it. And, as I'm talking to my son, this was maybe a year ago, I was like, "Well, have you thought about taking a gap year, working a little bit and doing that?" And he was like 100% no. I don't wanna do that. I want I want this experience. I want this college experience, freshman experience. It's such a good, like, I guess, springboard for
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
to have
Absolutely.
to have that. And I'm trying to talk with him a little bit about, my experiences going. And we didn't mention it, but I did actually end up going to college as I moved out and was able to move to a small town that had a college in it, and just kind of put the plug in there. But I'm telling him about this experience and like how much I thought I had to figure this stuff out on my own. And he's like, "Oh, but, I want you to be a part of this decision, like, with me.
Mhm.
I want you to do that." That really kind of struck me as interesting because there's so many ways to do things. There's so many different ways to do things. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to take this one path to get to college. You don't have to take this one path to get to work. Just because it worked for me, just because, I had to be feral for a little bit to get there,
Mm.
Yeah.
does not mean that that's gonna work for everybody.
Right. I feel like we're sold these stories as to what we should be doing with our lives, like graduate, go
Oh,
to
yeah.
college, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, we are.
Um, but something just occurred to me, and I'm going to put this in terms of weather. But it feels to me right now, and for you, and for millions of other Gen Xers out there, that you are in the eye of the hurricane, and I'll explain that a little bit. Where you have spent the past 18 years raising a child, it's been chaotic, everything, and now you're about to be an empty nester where things may settle down, but fastly approaching is us taking care of our elderly parents. Do you
Mm.
think about that at all? Does that weigh on you at
Oh, yeah.
all?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's a huge piece of my 2 a.m.s.
Yeah.
Able
Yeah.
to being able to sort that stuff out. Um, Arguably, our parents were no better at being adults than we are,
Mm.
which is, like, a really terrible thing to think about. Like that, they've got money problems, their bodies are disintegrating,
Mhm.
Right.
they're like, things aren't working the same way. And they're, like, thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, that's a huge thing, and I know I've heard it before, and I don't really remember where, but, like, to say, like, this is the kind of the sandwich generation where we're
Mm.
sandwiched between the kids, needing things and our parents needing things, and whatever we need kind of, that gets, like, sorted out later.
Mm.
I don't know that that's much different from, what our parents had to go through in a lot of ways, but I don't know. I don't think they think about it like that.
Yeah.
But definitely we think about it like that. We're worried it lands on our shoulders to deal with the gaps in income that your parents
Mm.
don't have.
Mhm.
That they don't have enough money for food, or something like that, which is, like, so fucking scary, I can't even, like,
Right.
articulate it right. Or their failing bodies or, failing minds that are just, not great. And so, yeah, we're kinda getting squished from 2 different directions, for
Yeah.
with the kids, and I'm not, definitely not, talking just kind of emotionally, but, like, financially too. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
that's a huge part where, they need care, your kids need care, and
Right.
you still got a mortgage to pay, the bank doesn't care that your
Mhm.
kids need care.
Right.
Um,
Right.
uh, that definitely factors into a lot of
Yeah.
things. Fortunately, both my folks, and my wife's mother they've got good faculties still.
That's
They
good.
Mm.
still are quite engaged and their bodies are still pretty good. That is, once the wind changes on that,
Mhm.
that's gonna be different.
We're
And that's
in parenting 2.0 where you thought maybe you were done parenting for a little bit, but you're not. Now we're parenting our parents.
yeah,
And
I think there is, like, an element of that for sure.
yeah, I feel that. I've felt
Gonna
that for the
take care of
past
them.
few years as well. Courtney, do you feel that at all?
For sure. I've because it's heavy and because the thought of it is so it's like, "Oh my god, they were right." Life gets just harder, and so I got really caught up in the idea that like, "Oh my god, it's just going to get harder," to how fun it's going to be to be able to spend more time with my folks, and which I've been able to do now, and get to know them as like I'm a full grown adult, and my life has finally kind of stabilized over the last 10 years, and I have more of a curiosity about them and also about the stories that they've told. And it's funny, my dad, as he's gotten older, has he seems to like me less. We joke about it in the house because the only things he ever says to me, he's like, "Oh, hey girl, how you doing?" And then he's like, 3 or 4 times during my stay, he'll be like, "Courtney, where are your dogs?" He gets so crabby about my dogs, and, I always like to joke that that's literally all he'll talk to me about, but, he's in love with Jonathan. Jonathan is, he goes and fixes the boat, but, that has been a worry, but I try and kind of shift it. Jonathan's mother passed away, last, a year ago on Mother's Day.
Oh,
And
nice.
so right? And so now we're caring for his dad, who luckily lives just down the street. And he also has 9 siblings to help,
That's
so
good.
he has got
Mhm.
like a great support system. And with my sister and my brother and I, my brother is in Reno, my sister is in Blacksburg. She's the whole reason I moved to Virginia. And but I feel like I have the most flexibility to where when there's an issue, which there has been a few things over the last couple of years, I was able to be up there right away. And it also feels very good to be of service to them because
Yeah.
I did put them through a lot over the year, as we all do.
Mhm.
And I want to be a source of like relief for them the way that they were for me, um, emotionally and financially, So, as hard as it is, I have to put some sort of lighter spin on it because it helps me to help
Yeah.
them. Help me help them. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I wish they would teach I wish in school, high school, I wish they would have a class that talks to us about just taxes. Could they have just gone over taxes for us? And
Mhm.
also a course on caring for your elderly parents.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like there are some very key things. I know kids would have loved that course, but,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Just maybe in sex ed, they'd go over all that stuff, and then they'd be like, "Also, this is probably gonna happen. This is how you navigate that." That would have been super beneficial instead of, fucking integers and the Texas Instrument. And I was a terrible student, Lucas. I mean, I was really a bad student, and I tried. That was the worst part. I tried so hard, and my brain was like, "We don't do this. We don't do math. That's
Yeah.
stupid." But yeah,
We're
that would have been
talent.
helpful. Yeah, and the talent. Yep. And so that would have been helpful.
Yeah.
Taxes especially, I still fucking I get it, but whatever. Anyhow, um I did have a question for you, Lucas. This is a little bit of a change, but I've been thinking about, you talking about your son and how cool it is that you're able to get him to listen to you about, changing the oil, changing a tire. Oh man, my dad made us do it in the rain at night in the driveway. We had to change a tire before he'd let us drive by ourselves. And I'll tell you, 3
Oh,
times in my college career, I had to change a tire, and I usually had a dude with me, and the dude would be holding, well, just this one time, he held the flashlight while I changed the tire.
nice.
That's
It's like
nice.
one of the
Yeah,
only yeah,
nice. I bet he
but I
felt
was
real good
thinking
about that.
that's so cool. I mean, it is empowering. And it just sounds like, my sister, she has an only child. And, they talk about how the children, as they get into teenage mode, they become incredibly frustrating, incredibly like volatile. And that's to help you set them free because they're so difficult. They can be such pains in the but it doesn't sound like you're getting that at all from your son. Like, it sounds
No.
like you guys have like a pretty phenomenal relationship. How's that been?
Oh, yeah, no, it's totally been frustrating.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah,
Okay. Phew.
like yeah, no, getting him to do it pretty much anything is really challenging in a lot of ways.
Right?
But, yeah, I can see that. I can totally see, like, when you got your kid and they're just or they're, maybe not just born, but, like, a few weeks old and, like, starting to open their eyes. They're starting to, like, there's squeeze and, like, look at things and things like that, and you're just like, "Oh my god, you're so cute. Oh, that's survival instinct, or that's
Yeah,
survival." If that kid wasn't cute, the waking you up at, like, 3 in the morning
that's
every
such a good point.
night is going to be a
Yeah.
lot more difficult.
Oh, God.
You would let the dingo get your baby.
Yeah. Where are the dingoes?
Or maybe less understanding ancestors,
Right.
maybe wouldn't have survived.
Yeah,
That's
right?
true.
Because of that, and so, like, the flip side of that is, like, yeah, like, really aggravating teenager is, like, now ready to go out and be aggravating to somebody else, and you're like, "Awesome, please do that." Yeah.
They're
Yes,
yours
please. Goodbye.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Good fucking luck.
Sayonara, kiddo.
I am now paying you
Yeah,
$50,000 a
totally.
year to take
Yeah.
this thing off my hands.
Yeah. Please watch this. Take care of this little thing.
God damn it,
I'm done.
that's a hell of a perspective, yeah, totally. Like, you're like this babysitter for 4 years to, like, watch your kid, turn your kid into an adult.
I'll give you whatever you
That's
want.
It's basically what college is, though. It's like they kind of ease you in with all this orientation. There's still like an
Yeah,
RA that's living in the dorms to help them, be a pseudo parent of sorts. But it's what
yeah,
college is it's just sort of a babysitter to help ease them into adulthood when, the parents are like, thank effing God, like they're out of the
Yeah.
house.
that's right.
Training wheels.
I'm not a parent, but I feel like as a parent, you're never done being a parent. You will
Of course,
always,
right?
always be a parent regardless, unless you completely disown your children, which,
It's a
yeah.
shifting landscape, though. It's such a shift, to go from this little thing in your hands, to, like, shoving them out the door for their first day of classes.
Oh,
But you're right. I don't think you can ever stop doing that or stop caring in that regard.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question. So, and I've asked my mother this, and her answer was surprising. Knowing what you know now about being a parent, would you do it again?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See,
Absolutely.
okay,
What's that?
that's the
What
answer,
did
right?
Sandy
My
say?
mom said no. She was like, she was, and she's the sweetest, most kind, wonderful, compassionate, like loves us, was just the phenomenal mom, just in every way. But she said the pain of watching us go through things
Oh.
was beyond what she could have even had any idea. And so then I was like, so who went through the hardest thing out of us? Because each of us have been through things. My brother broke his neck. I
Oh,
was a raging alcoholic and addict. And so, yeah, she said watching us go through really difficult life things, she's like, I think she said, I don't know if I would do it again. I don't think it was
Mm.
a hard no, and that surprised me because I'm like,
Well,
huh.
I have read a few, and granted, it's just like swiping through Instagram, but like The Guardian or Atlantic or maybe New York Times or somebody, they kind of just asked some people, got some polling numbers, like, would you be a parent again? And a lot of it was close to like 35%. They said, no, I wouldn't do it. So I'm curious to our listeners out there who do have children, like, I'm sure they're the light of your lives, but like, what Courtney's question, would you do it again? Just curious. Let us know.
I know it's
So,
it's thought provoking, and it doesn't
yeah,
mean you don't love and cherish
right.
your child. It's just obviously like, and I as much as I try to understand, and now I'm a stepmom, which is such a weird term. Um, I've got just the teeniest pinhole of a view of what being a parent is like, and my God. saluting to all the fucking parents, yo. And I was a shit when I was a kid. Like, I have to call my mom and be like, "Can you remind me about how I never cleaned up after myself fucking ever, ever?" Like, oh my God. And she's like, "No, you were pretty good." And I was like, "No, Sandy, tell me bad stuff." Cause that helps me, like, remind me that I'm like, okay, this is part of it. Teenagers they're messy.
You don't
Yeah.
I'm
remember that
messy.
stuff, though. You don't remember it.
You
Like, at
don't?
least I don't.
Yeah.
That's not what kinda shapes out.
Yeah.
How many diapers have I changed? Like, a lot. I don't remember
Yeah.
any of them.
Yeah.
How many
Right, of course. Yeah.
I'm like, how much puke have I cleaned up? A lot. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
right.
so, like, and so here we are back at memory again.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Uh-huh.
that's not, that wasn't nearly important enough even at the time to register.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because I was so exhausted,
Oh,
that
God
I
bless you.
wasn't
Yeah.
didn't remember anything, but,
Yeah.
that's not what shapes out.
Mm.
You tend to remember, like, the important aspects of it,
Oh, yeah.
and not, like, this kind of grueling day-to-day stuff,
Right.
which is helpful.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you, does that come up like in feelings? Like, do you emotionally feel anything when you think about like the gross diapers or the puke or the exhaustion or anything? Does that do anything to you physically when you
Yeah.
try and recall any of these memories? No,
No, no, no,
nothing.
that's, at this point, it's
Uh-huh.
really far removed,
Okay.
and, there's so many other things in which to, I guess, cogitate on and to spin around on,
Mm-hmm.
that those don't even make the list. Like, that stuff doesn't even qualify as being
Mm.
worth my time to think about.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's because I forget about raising a puppy and how hectic it is in the first year. Um, but like when I look back on my time with my other dog, my old dog that passed away, I don't remember. I only remember the fun and how
Yeah.
freaking adorable she was. So that
Mm-hmm.
definitely. So I get it. I've had a puppy, so I get it.
Yeah, yeah, no,
But you know what I mean.
yeah, totally, totally. Well, as far as the memory goes, that stuff is, you've got so many other things in which to work off of, in which to qualify that it's not even part of the experience at this point. Yeah, you
Right.
went through it. Yeah, there's some vague kind of like muscle memory on how to like swaddle or how to wrap up a diaper so it's like less stinky. Um, it doesn't even qualify as something to, like, going forward to be even worth your time to, like, or even worth the mental space to think about.
Yeah.
Um, though there is maybe some muscle memory in there that would be appropriate if, you ever have to do it again. Like, if
Right.
you're a
Yeah.
grandparent and you're babysitting your, 1-year-old
Oh
or whatever.
yeah.
"Well, yeah,
Yeah.
It'll
there's a
all
poopy
come
diaper.
back.
I know how to
Yeah.
do that."
I
Yeah.
know how
Um,
to do that.
yeah.
These kids that become such a part of my lives, there's 5 of them. 4 of them are boys, and they're huge. They're giants, like your son. And then there's a perfectly adorable, wonderful girl. And occasionally, I will pull out one of their books of pictures of when they were babies, and I have FOMO. Like, it's this
Oh.
weird, like, FOMO of, like, I missed that part, and I do wish that because I feel like I'm more of, like, an older sibling somewhat with them because I'm
Mm.
certainly they have a mom, she's lovely, like, I'm not trying to replace their mom, but I get those feelings, I'm like, "I wanna get woken up by you in the middle of the night, change your diaper," like, but then again, I probably don't, but it's a neat feeling. It's neat that I look at that, and as frustrating as it all is sometimes, it's cool that I love that that's my reaction when I see them as
Yeah.
babies, that I missed all of that, even, like, through because I came here when the youngest was 15 and the oldest was 23. So,
Okay.
yeah. So it's neat. It's
Uh,
neat to have that because I never really thought I'd have kids. I didn't, it just my life never pivoted in that way, and, but it's pretty cool to be, like, the, the cool, gorgeous, interesting stepmom.
that's right.
That's the role I've
Yeah.
taken.
Um,
Fascinating. But they don't give a shit about anything I have to say. I'm like, "I'm so fucking cool, you idiots," and they don't agree, and that's fine.
5 is nuts. Like,
Yeah.
5 is crazy. The 2 kids, I've heard, 2 kids is more than twice the work as 1.
Yeah.
5, that's just like
Yeah.
that's just a fire hose. You're just
Isn't that
like
crazy? And, like
you've got no
And, like,
chance to breathe at that point.
Lucas, her husband more or less raised them on his own.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
isn't
yeah.
that incredible?
That's
And
amazing.
he is still, I swear to God, he's still in survival mode. Like, it
Yeah.
has not changed.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Yeah.
is still living his life like, "We just gotta get through this day, and we'll figure it out."
I bet.
But yeah, so it's a lot of I mean, I grew up in a family of 3, and it felt crowded, you know? We like, "Don't touch me," but I do love about these kids, oh my god, because they're so used to the chaos, when they are on a road trip, when we're all on a road trip together, they sleep on top of each other. Like, they're
Aw.
all, like, hands, feet. It warms my heart, and there's so many pictures of them sleeping in their bed with their dad. When their mom was gone, it was, obviously very hard for the young ones, and so they'd all sleep with him, and it was just like a pile up. And, there's one picture of him on I have to share this, it cracks me up. When I was first starting to date him, I did a deep dive on his Facebook, which you do, and he had a picture of the kids, 3 of them in bed, feet and face, feet on hands, and he said, hashtag, "Where am I gonna sleep?" Hashtag, "No wonder mom left." And I was like, "Holy shit, I think I'm in love with this guy. That's hilarious." Like, no wonder mom left. Anyhow, um,
Ah,
yeah, I forget exactly why I needed to tell that story, but
it's good. It's
oh, just because
cute.
I like seeing how they function. Because my sister and my brother and I, we I'm a toucher and they are not touchers, and
Ah.
so it was very like, "Don't you dare fucking touch me." And these kids are just piling up together on the couch. They're on top of each other, drinking, eating each other's food, like, and I
Ah.
really enjoy that, like, and they'll be like, "You gotta try this," and I'll try their food, and it's I don't know, I found my perfect chaos, I love it
Ah.
for
Aw,
for the
that's
most part.
nice. Aw. Lucas, what's the biggest thing in your life right now that wasn't the plan, and you're starting
Mm.
to think that maybe it was exactly right?
Well, let's see. Yeah, no, it wasn't ever the plan to be an engineer.
Oh,
Um, and I've been doing that for a while, and it seems to be pretty good right now.
That's awesome.
It wasn't ever I would say, like, it was never the plan to have kids, um, but once we started talking about it, it seemed like that we made a plan for that, so it was a plan
okay.
for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I certainly I do not balk. I would absolutely do that again.
Mm.
The benefits far outweigh the negative
Oh,
Ah,
points of
yeah.
it,
yeah.
um, at least for me.
Mhm.
And, I think, like, it was it's kind of a Gen X thing, and it may be kind of glib, but it was never part of the plan to live this long.
Right? Me
Ah,
neither,
okay,
dude.
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So, you know,
Yeah, is it our Gen X thing? Because Courtney and I used to talk about that all the fucking time.
yeah, yeah, it's like is
No more debt.
absolutely. The idea where, you've got your good times are behind you, and you take the Hemingway,
Mm,
Right?
way out,
yeah,
and maybe it's just kind of like a romantic and fun to think about, but it was never, like, executable.
Right.
That's entirely
Yeah, right.
possible.
yeah,
Very
Um,
true.
yeah.
but, there was, definitely never part of the plan when you're 18 to be like, "Oh, what am I gonna be like when I'm 53?"
Right?
Right.
Didn't even
Yeah.
think about like, I didn't go beyond my 20s, like,
That's
Oh,
totally,
fuck
never.
no.
And,
totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
think of
Was
folks that are, our age right now when we were that young, it was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
they're so old, they're grandparents and gray hair and,
yeah,
like, walkers, and they're close to death." And
totally. Totally. Yeah, no, and yeah, a lot of that is kind of media training and things like
yeah.
that, but,
Totally.
like, the idea that, you're 18, you have no concept about what's gonna happen in 40
Mm,
years. You've
Yeah.
got no
right.
fucking idea.
Yeah.
Um, and,
Yeah, you fucking
like,
idiots.
seriously, like, you've got,
It's
like
so true.
you're what are you gonna be like when you're 53? I don't know. I'm gonna, like, stay up all night and drink a lot of beer. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat candy in bed.
And
I know,
now
Fuck
it's
it.
you
like 8
can't
PM. I can't drink
Yeah.
after 5 PM.
I know,
Right?
I know. There's always, like, that, impulse or, like, what would 18-year-olds say to you right now? Or,
Yeah.
Mm,
You're
I don't know,
old.
it's like, yeah, I'd probably, like, try to kick my ass.
yeah.
For sure.
Um, and, yeah, there's this dumb movie, I watch a lot of movies. There's this dumb movie like 10, 15 years ago called Looper. Had Bruce Willis in it.
Yeah.
Um, and it was I don't think it was a very good movie, but there's this part in it where he goes back in time, where Bruce Willis goes back in time and meets his younger self, and his
Oh
younger
god.
self is like, "It looks like your face is on upside down." It's like,
That's
"Oh,
what I
yeah,
was thinking. I'll be
that's
like, "Oh my
interesting."
god." It's true. And so I always try and think, what will 56-year-old Courtney say to 46-year-old Courtney? And she'd be like,
Mm.
"You're so gorgeous still. You're beautiful. You're not old. You're great. Oh my God. Embrace it. Embrace it. Love yourself. Love yourself. You look great." Like, because I imagine what my 45-year-old self would have said to my 35-year-old self and been like, "Stop caring about shit that doesn't matter." But it is weird because it's like, we I got old. It happened. Like, when you're younger, you don't think you're gonna get old. It's like, probably not. I won't age, I don't think. And then here we are.
Here we are,
Well,
yeah.
I think
Here
we're
we
all
are.
fortunate to be the ages we are. There's a
Of
lot of folks
course.
that don't make it this far.
Absolutely. It's
You
very
know.
true.
So on
Choose
that
your
note,
hard.
right. Lucas, do you have anything else to add before we release you?
Oh, here, I'll show you my drum machine.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell
Woo.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my new acquisition from 1984.
How fun. Oh my
Yeah,
Fun.
God.
it's
How do you
it's it's
leave that room?
it's
Just
the du it makes the dumbest sounds. It's like
I love
there's
it. God.
and it's got like yeah, it's got some really good lessons for musicians as well as engineers. How
Ah,
you because
cool.
you can program it, and the way you program it is so counterintuitive, and so
Awesome.
it's so weird that there's like, if you were like a UI designer or something like this, like, looking at that, your mind would be blown, like, why would they do that? And so it's 1984, they had
Nice.
nothing to go off of.
I
Oh,
love
that's
it's counterintuitive.
fun.
Totally.
Like, this is
Oh,
not
that's
gonna make
good.
sense. Sir Lucas, and it doesn't have to be the best, the number one, but the first thing that comes into your head, what's the kindest thing anyone's done for you?
The kindest thing?
Yeah, it can be simple, little, holding the door. I had a neighbor cover my car window with plastic once, and that still warms my heart.
Why would they cover your window with plastic?
Oh, because my window is down in the rain.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, that didn't make any sense. My neighbor slashed my tires, and it warms my
Well,
heart.
it was great. I talked about, my friend Dave,
Yeah.
Oh,
putting me up.
yeah.
That's definitely up there. The day-to-day courtesies that, my wife does is
Oh.
amazing.
Give us
Um,
one example.
Prove it.
well, she let me sleep in today, so that was
Oh.
good.
That is
The
good.
the kindest thing though? Yeah, I don't know.
What's one of the nicest thing Levi's done for you in the past month?
Ooh.
In the past month,
Yeah, so just something
uh,
that pops up that you were like, "Thanks, bud."
uh, he never fights me when I wanna go out to have pizza. So
Way to
so
take
so
one
that
for the team,
so yeah,
kid.
so that's nice.
Above
That's
and beyond.
very nice.
But still, that's big for a teenager that's got,
Yeah.
so many other things going on.
He regularly fills the car up with gas.
Aw.
This is,
That's impressive.
not the cheapest time to be buying gas,
Oh,
No.
so
and
he pays for it.
well, he pays for the gas. Yeah, so
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah,
nice. Okay.
so
I
he
wasn't
that's
sure if it was, like,
incredible.
going on your credit card or
no,
something.
no, 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 he
Okay.
pays for the gas.
Okay.
That was part of
Wow.
it. That was part of our deal, but I haven't had to, like, kinda, like, remind him about it, so that's really nice.
That's really
Um,
impressive. Seriously.
Great to not have to worry about that. Um, uh,
That's awesome.
yeah, he's working on his resume right now. He's working on his, all the graduation thank you cards. And so,
Oh, yeah.
that takes some pressure off me and his mom
For
to be able to
sure.
do that. Um, you know, I said earlier that, you don't remember, like, a lot of the diaper changing, a lot of that kind of, like, uglier stuff maybe,
Mhm.
and maybe you don't remember the nice things too, but it has an
Yeah.
effect. It kind of it drives that instinct.
Yeah.
Wow. Sounds like you've got a delightful family,
I
Lucas.
know.
Yeah, there
You
are.
did a good job raising that boy, and I've
Hell
always
yeah.
said that. He's a good kid.
Yeah, he's a good kid,
Oh.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Snaps for Levi. But yeah, snaps for David too, or Dave and
His
Levi.
family as
Anyway.
well for
And
helping
your wife
Lucas
for letting you
there.
sleep in. Hell yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. It really
Well,
counts for that.
Lucas, thank you so much for coming on today and
Yeah,
sharing your
dude.
story.
Yeah.
We are going to have you on again. I want to talk about your podcast
Ooh,
because I
yeah.
think that that's definitely a lot of people can relate to right now.
Sure.
Well, I mean, anybody that's pivoting careers, but when you're, say, let's just say Gen X, because we've been talking about that, but when you find yourself not retired yet, what
Yeah.
do you do? So.
Yeah, you can't retire.
Yeah, so everyone go
And
check out that podcast, Not Retired Yet, by Lucas Smith. It's fantastic.
Hell yeah.
Courtney, thank you so much. If anybody has questions, you can always email us at thatwasn'ttheplanpod@gmail.com. Please go out there, rate, review, give us 5 stars. We'd love it. You can always
Mhm.
reach us through our website or on the social medias. But Lucas, Courtney, thank you again. It was
Thank you,
wonderful.
Emily. Thanks, Lucas.
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hang sesh.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me.
Okay.
Mhm.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to That Wasn't the Plan. If you found it helpful or at least mildly entertaining, a quick rating, review, and a click on the subscribe button would be lovely and genuinely helps us. And if a friend comes to mind, please share. Until next time, bye.